welcome to this explainer. Okay, so if you've ever stared down a complex mathematical theorem and just felt a creeping sense of dread, yeah, you're absolutely not alone. It is so easy to look at mathematical proofs as these dry, highly abstract equations that are basically designed just to frustrate us. But today, we are going to completely flip that perspective. We're going to look at discrete mathematics not as some rigid list of rules to memorize, but as an incredibly empowering builder's toolkit for truth. By the time we wrap up here, you'll see exactly how mathematicians use very specific logical tools to construct unshakable foundations of knowledge.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. We're going to look at 1. Introduction to proofs, 2. The direct proof, 3. Mathematical induction, 4. Indirect proofs, and 5. Choosing your technique.
So starting right off with Section 1, Introduction to Proofs. Before we even pick up a tool, we kind of need to know what it is and why it belongs in our toolbox, right? Think of a master builder working on a house. They would literally never show up to a job site with only a hammer. I mean, a hammer is great for nails, but it is terrible for screws. It's the exact same for mathematicians. They rely on a whole set of different methods depending on the specific structure they're trying to build. Proof techniques broadly fall into 3 main categories: direct proofs, indirect proofs, and proofs by induction. And the choice of which tool you pull out depends entirely on the specific mathematical task sitting right in front of you.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole heart of discrete mathematics. Our source text explicitly reminds us that, quote, there is no single method applicable to solving all tasks. A mathematical proof isn't just a cheat code you plug in. It requires human ingenuity, skill, and just a good old-fashioned implementation of common sense. The formulas are your guide for sure, but you are the builder here.
Moving right along to Section 2, the direct proof.
You can totally think of this one as our hammer. It's straightforward, it's powerful, and it is absolutely essential. The direct proof, or proof by construction as it's sometimes called, has a really simple A to B flow. We are literally building a bridge straight from a starting premise over to a final conclusion. You start with a given premise, let's call it X. Then you apply a series of logical, undeniable mathematical steps. And finally, you directly deduce your conclusion, Y. You're simply demonstrating that Y fundamentally has to follow from X.
Now, what's really interesting about this is seeing it in action. Let's apply this direct hammer to a real problem. Let's say our premise is that we have an integer, n, and it happens to be even. In math, an even number can always be written as 2 times some other integer. Let's call it k. So n equals 2k. Now we want to prove that n squared is also even. Watch how these logical steps flow. We square n, which means we square 2k. That gives us 4k squared. Now, can we prove that is even? Yes! We just factor out a 2, which leaves us with 2 times 2k squared. Because the entire thing is being multiplied by 2, it is mathematically forced to remain even. There is no way around it. We started at premise X and built a direct, unshakable bridge right to conclusion Y. Next up, Section 3, Mathematical Induction. But what happens when that bridge we need to build has to go on forever? That is where mathematical induction comes in. It's our most elegant tool. You use it when you need to prove that something is true for all positive integers going forward into infinity. You obviously can't use a direct proof for an infinite number of cases. You'd be calculating for the rest of your life. So instead, induction relies on the ultimate chain reaction. Think of the falling domino effect. If you can prove that the very first domino falls, and you can prove that any falling domino will always knock over the one immediately next to it, well then you've just proven that the entire infinite line of dominoes is going to fall. Let's move to how this builds. There are basically 3 steps to building an actual proof like this. Step 1 is the initial step. You just prove the statement is true for your starting number. Say n equals 1. Boom, you've knocked over the first domino. Step 2 is the inductive hypothesis. You simply assert or assume that the statement is true for some arbitrary case n equals k. Then, step 3, and this is what the source material calls the difficult step, you have to use your assumption from step 2 to prove that the statement holds true for the next case, n equals k plus 1. This is you proving that the dominoes are placed close enough together to actually keep that chain reaction going. Let's actually put this into practice. Here's a challenge for you. If a and b are consecutive integers, like 4 and 5, or 100 and 101, how do we universally prove their sum is always odd? Just take a second to think about how you would set up those dominoes. Okay, here's how we elegantly knock them down using induction. Step 1, our initial step. Let's test the very first consecutive integers, 1 and 2.
1 plus 2 equals 3. 3 is odd. The first domino has officially fallen. Step 2. We assume this is true for some random number x. So, x plus its successor, x plus 1, is odd. Now for step 3, the clever jump. What happens if we move to the next consecutive pair? Well, we add 1 to x, and we add 1 to x plus 1. Mathematically, we have just added exactly 2 to our total sum. And here's the genius part. Adding 2 to any integer never ever changes its evenness or oddness. Since our base assumption was odd, adding 2 means the next pair is also definitely odd. We've proven the link. By mathematical induction, the sum of any two consecutive numbers, stretching all the way to infinity, is odd. And look at that, no heavy algebra required.
Which brings us to section 4, indirect proofs. Sometimes, though, you just can't go straight through a problem. And honestly, dominoes won't work either. That's when we pull out our indirect tools. The first one is the proof by contrapositive. Think of it like a logical mirror. A direct statement says, if premise P is true, then conclusion Q is true. The contrapositive completely flips this on its head. It states, if conclusion Q is false, then premise P must also be false. In first-order logic, these two statements mean the exact same thing. So the actual mechanics of this tool involve intentionally working backwards. Step 1, you assume the conclusion is false. Step 2, through your logical steps, you demonstrate that this forces the original premise to also be false. Step 3, you deduce your original theorem is true by contraposition. For example, earlier we proved that if n is even, n squared is even. To prove this by contrapositive, we'd start by assuming n squared is not even, and because of the math we already explored, that would totally force the original n to also not be even. It's a mere reflection. Our final tool is the crowbar, proof by contradiction. Instead of just working backwards, this form of proof intentionally tries to break reality to reach a logical fallacy. You assume your starting premise is true, but that your conclusion is completely false. Then you just do the math until you hit a logical dead end. Going back to our example, what if we assumed n is odd, but n squared is even? Well, if you follow that math down the rabbit hole, you'll find that for this to work, n squared would somehow have to be both even and odd at the exact same time, which is literally impossible. Because your assumption led to a huge contradiction, your original proof must be true. You basically broke the false assumption with a crowbar. And finally, section 5, choosing your technique. So the crucial point is, you've got a hammer, you've got dominoes, mirrors, and crowbars. How does a master builder actually decide which one to use? Well, it takes intuition, and that really only comes from practice. The source material highlights a few classic challenges, like proving the square root of 2 is irrational. That is a perfect job for proof by contradiction. Proving that 7n-1 is a multiple of 6 for all positive integers, since it says for all positive integers, that problem is practically screaming for mathematical induction. Or exploring the properties of the Fibonacci sequence. Again, induction is going to be your absolute best friend to cascade through that sequence. So, as you can see, proofs aren't just arbitrary academic exercises designed to give you a headache. They are highly specialized, precise techniques used to derive absolute truth from the universe. Armed with the hammer of direct proof, the falling dominoes of induction, and the mirror of contraposition, what mathematical mysteries will you build a proof for next? The toolkit is all yours. Go out there and start building.
Yeah.